This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Ephraim Graham. The newly released report from the Inspector General suggests James Comey was negligent in following Justice Department procedures in their Hillary Clinton email investigation. It also reveals text messages between agents on the Clinton case about then presidential candidate Donald Trump. Jennifer Wishon has more on this report from Washington.
Former FBI Director James Comey's decision to hold a press conference and declare no charges should be filed against Hillary Clinton for the mishandling of classified documents was extraordinary and insubordinate, writes the Justice Department's Inspector General in his 500-page report. But he found Comey was not motivated by political bias.
Anyone who is hoping to use this report to undermine the Mueller probe or prove the existence of a deep state conspiracy against President Trump will be sorely disappointed.
The report criticizes former Attorney General Loretta Lynch for meeting with President Bill Clinton on her plane days before his wife's interview with the FBI. The White House says the report backs up what President Trump has long believed.
It reaffirmed the president's suspicions about Comey's conduct and the political bias among some of the members of the FBI.
She's referring to new text messages revealed between former FBI lawyer Lisa Page and FBI agent Peter Strzok. Page writes, "Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right?" Strzok responds, no, he's not. We'll stop it." Strzok was assigned to both the Clinton and Russia probes, and the IG writes he's not confident Strzok was free from bias when he decided to prioritize the Russia investigation over following up on Clinton emails found on Anthony Weiner's laptop. The damage caused by those actions, the IG finds, cast a cloud that extends far beyond the Clinton investigation and threatens the FBI's reputation for neutral fact-finding and political independence. Following the report, every FBI employee will receive new training.
That includes drilling home the importance of objectivity, of avoiding even the appearance of personal conflicts or political bias in our work.
The House Judiciary Committee plans to subpoena Strzok to testify, and some legal experts say the Justice Department should reconsider prosecuting Clinton and her top aides for mishandling classified material.
No decision on that was ever made actually by the Justice Department. It was only by the now terminated FBI director.
Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
Here now is a look at some of the other major headlines we're following for you today inside the CBN newsroom. The Trump administration's zero-tolerance policy for illegal border crossing is coming under fire. GOP lawmakers have distanced themselves from the policy after Attorney General Jeff Sessions cited the Bible in defense of why children are being separated from their families, quoting the Apostle Paul and pulling from Romans 13, saying it is biblical to enforce and follow the law. Republicans say, however, they are seeking to resolve the problem in a compromise immigration bill. President Trump has approved a plan to impose tariffs on tens of billions of dollars of Chinese goods. Administration officials have signaled support for the tariffs after allegations Beijing steals or pressures foreign companies to hand over technology. The Chinese have threatened to push back if the U.S. takes actions that harm Chinese interests. A new CDC survey has found teenagers smoking, having sex, and doing drugs is on the decline. The survey, out Thursday, asked about 100 questions on a wide range of health topics, including smoking, drugs, and diet. Researchers compared the results to similar questionnaires going back more than 25 years. For more now on these stories and others throughout the day, be sure to check out cbnnews.com. According to Iran's leaders, the country faces its worst drought in 50 years. That means millions will face water shortages unless something changes. As Chris Mitchell reports, Iran is getting an offer of help from, of all places, Israel.
It's an annual ritual since Ayatollah Khomeini took control in 1979. On Iran's Quds, or Jerusalem Day, thousands march shouting, "Death to Israel," while burning U.S. and Israeli flags and parading effigies of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. It's just more evidence of Iran's goal to destroy Israel. In the midst of all that hate, Prime Minister Netanyahu spoke directly to the Iranian people.
Today I'm going to make an unprecedented offer to Iran. It relates to water. The Iranian people are victims of a cruel and tyrannical regime that denies them vital water. Israel stands with the people of Iran, and that is why I want to help save countless Iranian lives. Here's how. Iran's meteorological organization says that nearly 96% of Iran suffers from some levels of drought. Issa Kalantari, a former Iranian agriculture minister, said that 50 million Iranians could be forced out of their homes due to environmental damage. 50 million.
Netanyahu pointed out Israel also faces water challenges and has developed cutting-edge technologies to solve those challenges.
Israel recycles nearly 90% of its wastewater. That's far more than any other country on earth. We invented drip irrigation. Our technology targets individual plants with exactly the nutrients they need for each plant. Israel has the know-how to prevent environmental catastrophe in Iran. I want to share this information with the people of Iran. Sadly, Iran bans Israelis from visiting, so we'll have to get creative.
To reach the Iranian people, Israel launched a website in Iran's own language, providing detailed plans on how Iranians can recycle wastewater, save crops, and feed their families. While Iran's leaders rejected Netanyahu's appeal, others see it as a significant gesture from one people to another.
I think it was a very important statement coming from the Israeli Prime Minister to the people of Iran, that we are not just ready to renew our friendship between the nations, we are ready to help them in anything they would find useful, that Israel would help them, like water reserves.
The Iranian regime shouts death to Israel. In response, Israel shouts life to the Iranian people.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
A major milestone for Congressman Steve Scalise. He returned to the baseball field after being shot just a year ago. Abigail Robertson has more in this story.
On June 14, 2017, doctors doubted whether Representative Steve Scalise would live through the night and definitely did not ever see him playing baseball again. Thanks to a series of miracles, he's not only back on the Hill, but also back on the field.
To be able to walk back out on this field again a year later is an incredible feeling.
Miraculously, all 5 people shot at last year's practice were on the field at this year's game. And in a moment only God could orchestrate, the very first play of the night was a grounder that went right to Scalise, who grabbed it and threw the runner out at first. Scalise promptly pointed to the sky to give God the glory.
To think that after 9 surgeries and everything that I get to be back out here with my colleagues, it's God bless America.
Scalise credits the Lord for getting him to this point.
I almost lost my life, and through God's grace and marvels of medicine, I'm here.
He told CBN News a few months ago he knows this was all a part of God's plan for his life.
It was tough. A lot of those, dark days, just to lean back on the strength of God and not question what happened, but to be able to focus on just getting better. That's what God has provided me.
And while he says he used to keep his faith to himself, he now proudly shares his testimony with all who want to hear it.
I can tell you the power of prayer is real, it's powerful, and it was incredibly helpful to give me the strength I needed to come back.
Coming up, we are heading to Singapore to see what the North Korean summit could mean for Christians facing religious persecution. Christians around the world prayed for a successful summit between President Donald Trump and dictator Kim Jong-un. The historic meeting has raised hopes the Korean Peninsula will eventually be reunified and religious freedom for North Korean Christians may happen. Lucille Toulousan brings us the story now. She's in Singapore.
At the end of the Singapore summit, President Donald Trump and Chairman Kim Jong-un signed a framework agreement for nuclear disarmament. Both leaders know many months of difficult negotiations and commitments lie ahead before peace and prosperity can be realized on the Korean Peninsula. The two men seem to develop a good relationship, and that may be the summit's greatest achievement.
The people of Singapore say they're very happy and honored to host such a historical event that promotes peace in the world. A lot of work was done to make this summit successful, and intervention of leaders from China, Japan, and South Korea. But Christians around the world are attributing the success to the many sacrifices of the persecuted North Korean Christians and to much prayer.
Pastor Jerome Ocampo recounts the South Korea Uprising Prayer Conference in 2016, where young leaders of churches from different nations gathered near the border of North Korea. They cried out to God for the reunification of the Korean peninsula. Although human rights and religious freedom were not the focus of the Singapore summit, Pastor Jerome believes that denuclearization can pave the way to a greater purpose.
We should not stop at denuclearization. We should continue to pray for the liberation of giving freedom to the North Korean believers.
Spiritual revival took place in the North Korean capital of Pyongyang in 1907. Ironically, today, North Korea is a place where Christians suffer the world's worst persecution. In the book by missionary Kwang Choi, It's Fine Should I Die, North Koreans testify how they were brainwashed from childhood into believing that, quote, Christianity is a tool of invasion of small and weak nations by the imperialist United States of America and its agent South Korea's puppet government. Christians in North Korea were already purged in prison camps even before the Korean War began in 1950. This is why Christians believe that a U.S. president coming face-to-face with a North Korean leader was unimaginable and nothing short of miraculous. Pastor Jerome had a dream about Kim Jong-un just 2 weeks before the 2016 Uprising Conference.
Kim Jong-un, he had a dream, and he was waking up in the morning, and in his dream, somebody was speaking to him. Maybe it was God, but the voice was like this. Will you be remembered as the Korean who destroys Korea? Or would you like to be remembered as the Korean who unites North and South Korea? And in my dream, all of a sudden, he just says, he made a choice. I'm going to be the Korean that will unite North and South Korea.
And this is why Pastor Jerome is rallying Christians to pray for Kim Jong-un.
I think what God has shown today is God has access to his heart. And therefore, God can do more. We cannot erase what he has done in the past. And I think the whole history of the whole regime will always be there. But I believe as a millennial, he is the most flexible of all the regime to actually bring change. And if we're going to pray for change, and we believe that God can bring that change, we will see one day, one Korea. We will see one day Pyongyang will welcome believers, and we will see God manifesting his glory again, probably in a new wave of revival all over Korea.
Lucille Talusan, CBN News, Singapore.
Still ahead, here on CBN NewsWatch, we're sitting down with Harris Faulkner. She shares how her faith and being raised as in the military has shaped her life. Harris Faulkner is a familiar face on cable television, but what you may not know about the Fox News anchor is she's an Army brat, and she says being raised in a military family not only shaped her values, but it gave her tools to succeed. And she's sharing how with our Wendy Griffith.
Harris Faulkner has worked her way up through the ranks at Fox News, and her success as co-host of the popular program Outnumbered has led to her own show, Outnumbered Overtime.
We'll go Outnumbered Overtime now. I'm Harris Faulkner.
Harris credits many of her accomplishments to a military upbringing and writes about it in her new book, 9 Rules of Engagement, a military brat's guide to life and success.
Most of us need the principles of the military to get through. You need to know how to put a mission together to victory.
Harris is the daughter of retired Lieutenant Colonel Bob Harris, an Army officer and pilot who served 2 tours in Vietnam. She grew up hearing her father's battle stories, where success often meant the difference between life and death.
So when I said, Dad, I have these rules in my life that I live by, and I know I came by them, from you and Mom, and sometimes my friends would make fun of me because I was just so disciplined and so set in my ways, and I'm like, well, that's part of how I grew up. said, I really want to share that with a wider audience.
Her book's 9 rules of engagement start with recruit your special forces.
The Navy SEALs don't travel with 200 people.
Right.
They can't execute the type of tip of the spear missions that they do. The Green Berets don't travel like that. They choose certain people for certain missions. And I think in life that's how we have to be. We become like the 5 people we spend most of our time with. Oh, Wendy, we got to be picky.
Wow.
And you might have to fire a few people who don't belong in that inner circle because they can't help you be your best and help you further your purpose.
Faulkner believes her deep faith in God has also given her life purpose.
My mission in life is to get to heaven. So the people I have in my inner circle, I don't allow to do the rule breaking that we know as Christians we can't.
When did you realize, I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, I believe in God?
Oh, from birth. I mean, it was a deal breaker in my household because Dad was at war.
Faulkner's Christian faith made a recent assignment to the Holy Land even more meaningful.
Let's bring in a very special guest now, Dori Gold, former Israeli ambassador to the United Nations. You were telling me in the commercial break.
What was it like to be there in Israel covering the opening of the U.S. Embassy in Jerusalem?
This is my favorite question ever. The Bible is in color, and it's in 3D, and you can touch it. You can go to the place where they brought Jesus' body after he was crucified and laid him down and cleaned him and prepared him for what was next.
I love this part of your book. You talked about the plaque that you have in your office. Just a girl who decided to go for it.
Oh, yeah. Everybody told me that it wasn't going to happen. I mean, not just a few people. Like, oh, are you good at anything else? Oh my gosh, spear my heart.
And after going for it and achieving, she's now in a position to help others do the same.
My purpose has broadened. My purpose now is to help as many people rise as possible. And it doesn't matter if they're women or men, but that sense of value that we have as individuals, I think, informs us and helps us to treat each other better.
You have had a tremendous career, so much success here at Fox, and now with your own show. Are you living your TV dreams?
I'm living my dream totally. I mean, my career dream, my home life dream with the 2 kids and the hubby, my familial dream outside of that was for my mom to see me host my own weekday show. And she didn't live to see that, but her partner did, of 57 years. And because he prays to heaven every night, I know she knows. So it's a total dream. And yet, there's more.
She says the fact that she sits where she does now is not a coincidence.
This is the culmination of all of the prayers that my dad said in that cockpit for me, hoping that he would make it back home.
Wendy Griffith, CBN News, New York.
Harris Faulkner's new book is called 9 Rules of Engagement, a military brat's guide to life and success. You can find it wherever books are sold. Stay with us. There's so much more of CBN NewsWatch coming up right after this. If your weekend plans include going to the movies and perhaps you're considering Incredibles 2, our friends at Plugged In Online take a look at how it measures up for family friendliness.
So, are we going to talk about it?
What?
The elephant in the room.
What elephant?
The movie Incredibles 2 finds the Parr family in a bit of a quandary. This superhero clan, made up of the heroes Mr. Incredible and Elastigirl, and their supercharged progeny Violet, Dash, and baby Jack Jack, really want to fight crime together. The problem is, supers have been outlawed by politicians who are tired of paying for the damage the heroes leave in their wake.
It's time to make some wrong things right.
Marketing tycoon Winston Deaver wants to change that. They need a good online PR campaign, he declares, and Helen Parr's Elastigirl is the best super-duper candidate to focus on.
Better than me?
Bye, sweetie.
I'll watch the kids, no problem.
Of course, that'll leave Mr. Incredible, the big galoot who typically solves problems by punching them, at home with the kids.
Why would they change math? Math is math. Math is math. Hello?
Hey, honey. How are the kids?
Everything's great.
In particular, he'll have to keep a lid on baby Jack Jack and his explosive abilities. How much trouble could a little baby be? This animated Pixar pick is loads of fun, and it encourages viewers young and old to consider things like the changing role of women and the influence of media. It suggests that a stay-at-home parent's job is a pretty heroic one too. It does engage in a bit of bad language, and it wallows in plenty of mess-free animated violence. But all in all, it deserves a definite 4 outlandish powers out of 5 for family friendliness. For an in-depth review on this movie or anything else at your local box office, visit us at pluggedin.com. Plugging you into the movies, I'm Cheryl Wilhelmy for Focus on the Family's Plugged In Movie Review.
That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can always find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. And we would love to hear from you. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today or any day for that matter. You can begin doing that by emailing us, newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It is Friday. Make it a fabulous one and have a wonderful weekend as well. We'll see you right back here come Monday. Goodbye, everybody, and God bless.